Test, 1, 2, 3.
All right, we're going to get started with the FFA Breeding Sheep. So first in the ring will be Kelly Nelson with her Dorset Fall Ewe Lamb, 6 to 12 months.
Really fancy little Dorset weather dam here. Again, an April baby. Just really good down its top. Got plenty of muscle for its age. Really stout, big-footed, and again, really square on its feet and legs. I think it's the only Dorset, so it'll be well deserving of a blue. And I'll go ahead and make it champion Dorset female.
Congratulations, Kelly Nelson. First and champion will come back for the Supreme U at the end. The next class will be our non-registered breed spring ewe lambs under 6 months, Gabby Fratello and Paige Bowen.
Couple late spring, February, March born lambs here. I'm going to use a lamb that's got just a little more look, a little more extension and length of body. Really love the soundness on its feet and legs. Again, correct enough down its top. A really nice one down here too. Minby has a little more rack shape right behind the shoulder. Again, just like to lengthen them out and give it a little more extension to run with the top one, but a really heavy muscled lamb here in second.
All right, that was class 2 with the fall ewe lambs 6 to 12, or under fall ewe lambs 6 to 12 months. We have Kelly Nelson, Gavin Bowen, and Paige Bowen.
Couple 6 to 12 month old females here. I think the ewe that starts just quite a bit stouter made. I love the forerib shape on this one. The dimension down the top. She comes out of a wide rack, gets progressively wider down its top. Big old hip and pin on this one too. Really big footed and sound made. Oh, love the extension and length of body in the UN2. Just not quite as much to her. She's a little up in her flank, just a little bit. Not quite the rib shape and design of the ewe that we've got to start the class with, but a real functional sound female in her own right.
All right, for that class was 6 to 12 months. First was Kelly Nelson, second Paige Bowen. Then our next class here is the yearling ewes, 12 to 24 months. We have Madeleine White and Paige Bowen.
Two really good yearling ewes here. They could take a lot of competition in a lot of places. Just like the design and the way this one's made here that we're up front with. She comes up out of ties a little bit higher and tighter out of the top of her neck. Again, really a good-footed, sound-made one that gets extremely level down her top. Walks out with a little bit more athleticism and freedom and ease than the ewe here in second. Love the length of body here. She just tends to be a little bit shorter out of her hips. She wants to drop her hip and pins just a little bit when we put her in motion. But here's a ewe I see a lot of breed ewe potential in her as you get her in with a buck in the future years. Two really nice ewes in this class.
All right, so from the last class with the 12 to 24 months, first was Madeleine White, second was Paige Bowen. So we are going to bring in the last three classes to figure out who the champion and reserve of the non-registered breeds are. So that would be okay. So Gabby Fratello, Paige Bowen with your under 6 months, Kelly Nelson, and Paige Bowen with your 6 to 12 months. And the yearling ewes, the 12 to 24 months, Madeleine White and Paige Bowen.
really sound, functional set of females here in the crossbred division, the weather dams here. And again, there's some bits and pieces and some breeding parts in all of these sheep. I've always kind of been a fan of if you've got 2 good yearling ewes, you better use them, and I had a hard time splitting them up. We're going to go with the 2 yearling ewes for Grand and Reserve Grand on the crossbred side.
All right, congratulations to Madeleine White, our champion, yearling ewe, non-registered breeds, and reserve Paige Bowen. All right, next in the ring will be Alexis Leathers with her other registered breed, Spring Ewe Lamb, under 6 months.
One spec could be maybe a Dorset Advantage if I had to take a guess, but who knows? Again, a really nice designed one, and one that's really straight down its top. Got plenty of muscle for a female. Maybe like to straighten it on its rear legs just a fraction if we're gonna try to make it even better. But here's a nice sound female, and she'll be a champion spec.
All right, congratulations to Alexis Leathers with her Spring Ewe Lamb under 6 months. She'll come back for the Supreme Ewe round. All right, we will bring back the champions for the Supreme Ewe round. So the first one in will be Kelly Nelson with her Dorset Fall Ewe Lamb. And then we will have the champion was Madeleine White with the non-registered breeds, and reserve was Paige Bowen. And then the champion, other registered breed, Alexis Leathers.
Really nice set out here. Again, We got to pick just one, I was told, and again, depending on what direction, what you need for a breeding piece and part out here, they've got some options for you. But for me, it's a pretty logical choice to use the yearling ewe from the crossbred division for your Supreme ewe.
All right, congratulations, Madeleine White, who has the Supreme FFA ewe. All right, in the class now will be our non-registered breeds fall ram, we'll just say ram lamb under 6 months.
Some really young babies out here taking a shot in the dark. Again, they're kind of made a little bit alike in terms of their length of body and their extension. I love them through their front end. You know, time will tell how more muscular they're going to get. Maybe need to level them out the rump, both of them just ever so slightly, and maybe that'll come with some muscle and some time. But right now they're pretty green. But a nice pair, good-footed, sound-made buck lambs. We'll see how they develop down the road.
All right, congratulations. These were both Paige Bowen with her ram lambs under 6 months, who will come back for the champion ram lamb round. All right, next in the ring is Kelly Nelson with her fall ram lamb 6 to 12 months.
Tremendous October buck lamb here. You talk about one that's powerfully made, big-footed, stout, round in his rib cage, big-backed. It gets progressively wider down his top and really level out his hip. He's one that could stand some competition at a little bit higher level than the Umatilla County Fair. I'm pretty convinced of that. Just a really nice buck here.
All right, our last class will be our champion round for the ram lambs. So in the ring will be Kelly Nelson with her 6 to 12 months and Paige Bowen with her under 6 months lamb.
got a little bit like David and Goliath here, but I'm afraid Goliath's going to have to win this time. The fall buck will be your champion. We talked about him just a second ago. I think he'd be really neat to breed some ewes to and see what comes out. And then the other two younger lambs here, they just need some time to grow and develop to try to be competitive. Let's congratulate all these exhibitors in the FFA Breeding Sheep Show.
All right, congratulations, Kelly Nelson with her champion Ram Lamb and Paige Bowen Reserve. And this concludes the FFA portion of the breeding. 4-H will get started and then open class will follow.
All right, we're going to start with our Suffolk Spring Ewe Lamb. That will be Gracie Hemphill.
Just one Suffolk Spring Ewe lamb, and again, from a body design standpoint, she's good-footed. She's got some length to body. If we're going to change her, maybe just stouten her up just a little bit, like to level and widen her up out of her pins. And if we're going to call her Suffolk, we need to get the wool off of her legs and her head, but we're still going to give her a blue ribbon.
Okay, our next class will be the South Downs Spring Ewe Lamb, Gracie Hemphill.
just one south down Elam, and again, a nice bodied sheep. She's got some rib shape to her. She's got some thickness down her top, really square in her feet and legs. If I was going to change her, I'd like to just level her up out of her dock and her hip there and widen her up out of her pins just a little bit, but she's well deserving of a blue.
Okay, our next class we're moving into the crossbreds. So our first class will be Spring Ewe Lamb. So we have Riley Hampton, Alyssa Long, Nova Long, Kellen Smith, Logan Smith, Callie Sovens, and Peter Fertello. Your Spring Ewe Lamb. Okay, sorry about that. My mistake. We have a Hampshire Spring Ewe Lamb class with Gracie Hemphill, Hodassa Moore, Cheyenne Skillman, Lillian Walder. Sorry, you guys.
We got a beast to start the Hampshire ewe lamb class. This one, again, could play at a higher level in the Umatilla County Fair. You just read her from front to rear. She's really good fronted. Neck comes high out of the top of her shoulder, straight down her top, round in her rib shape. Just a big hip, big ended one that gets around the ring with a lot of freedom and ease. Next two lambs we just need to stouten them up from end to end. They got to have more muscle. They got to have more power. We got to blow them apart both up front and behind and raise the tail sets up just a little bit. They're good long-bodied kind of sheep that are acceptable through their shoulder and front end and whatnot. We need to just change them out their hips and give them a lot more body and power.
Okay, now we're ready for the crossbred Spring Ewe Lamb. So I should have Riley Hampton, Alyssa Long with 2 entries, Nova Long, Kellen Smith with 2 entries, Logan Smith with 2 entries, Callie Sovance, and Peter Fertello.
I guess we'll go over here so they can show on the right side. I'm going to start with the young man's blue sheep here in this crossbred spring division. I just think from a quality standpoint, this sheep puts the most things together. Again, I love the way she's driven up through her chest floor. She's extended through her front end. You'll read her top and get your hands on her. She's got plenty of meat and muscle for her age and is wide and level out of her dock as anything in the class. Another good one here in 2, maybe just not quite as sweet a package when you get your hands on her, but again, a really long-bodied sheep that's still good through its shoulder and front end. Not quite as big-footed, not quite as square off of its rear, too, as the young man that wins the class. Kind of taking a leap of faith here. The young man in 3's got one of the younger lambs in class, but from a quality perspective, I think this is maybe as good a made one as we've got out here. Again, really level down its top, plenty of expression and muscle for a pretty young lamb, and really good and feminine up through her front end. Lambs in 4 or 5, I guess I'm a little bit critical in the amount of condition that they've got them. They're plenty fat for this phase of the game. Again, a little bit longer bodied version in 4 than what we've got in 5, but I just like to peel some fat off of these 2 if we could. We get over here in the other line again, lambs that maybe just aren't quite as put together as nicely in terms of their structure. We get to the far end, the last couple 3 lambs, maybe not quite enough muscle to compete in the class. But a good set, great set of kids. Let's give them a nice hand if you would, please.
Okay, our next crossbred class will be fall ewe lambs. We have Kellen Smith with 2 entries, Logan Smith with 2 entries, Madeleine White, and Gabrielle Fratello.
a nice set of fall ewe lambs. We're going to go blues from one end to the other, but there's sure some differences in them in terms of their type and kind. Again, I really like the power and the dimension of the ewe lamb that starts. She is just straight as a string down her top, wide and level out her hip, big-footed, stout maiden, yet still feminine. I think she's kind of a handy place to start. 2 and 3 a little bit different in terms of their type and kind. I'm going to use one that, again, maybe follows the type, a little more powerful, a little more rib shape and dimension to this one. Again, she's not as long-bodied or as cool-fronted maybe as the 1 and 3, but she's better out of her hip, I think, and just kind of a more power and shape to her. Love the extension and femininity in 3. Young lady's got one, drives it really, really well. She just we got to pull her apart both up front and behind and maybe just widen her up out of her pins if we're going to run with those top 2 today. Another really big-bodied one that wants to kind of run downhill, a little bit coarser through her shoulder and front end. I think wants to roach up in her spine when we put her in from a skeletal design standpoint, so we'd like to change that about her as well. And just a little bit shorter coupled one down here, but I think a lot of brood ewe potential in her. Just not quite the bells and whistles and the pattern of the 4 that we've got up ahead, but a nice set of fall ewe lambs. Let's congratulate these young people if you would, please.
Okay, our next class.
What's the next class?
Yearling ewe lamb.
We're going together.
Okay, just a reminder, the top 2 in each of the crossbred classes will be coming back for the Champion Reserve crossbred at the end of the crossbred classes. Okay, and our next crossbred class will be yearling ewe lambs, and we have Kellen Smith and Logan Smith. All right, here come our crossbred yearling ewe lambs with Kellen Smith and Logan Smith.
Two big old yearling ewes here. The ewe that wins the class, she's just a tank, and I mean that in a positive fashion. Lots of rib, body, volume, and muscle. If we could, like to change her, and she just runs downhill just a little bit, like to crank her up through her chest floor just a little bit. But she's a big-footed stout one that's just way wide and level out of her hip. Another nice ewe down here in two, we'll make her a blue as well. She just shortens up a little bit, maybe just not quite the hip structure that we've got on the ewe that wins, but certainly a good feminine kind of female that's got an awful lot of brood ewe potential.
Okay, our next class will be crossbred producing ewe lambs. And in this class will be Kellen Smith and Logan Smith.
nice pair of old brood ewes here. You can tell that they've got the right rib shape and body dimension to them that they're going to go out and work and milk and carry a set of twins real easily. The ewe that I'm going to start with, just a little bit more burly in terms of her rib shape. She's wider and leveler out of her hip and has more top shape, and it's awfully hard. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of dragging producing ewes into the show. They need to be out with bucks and just being sheep. But that being said, here's a nice sheep, a nice pair of sheep here that I'm sure have produced very well for these young boys. Let's give them a nice hand.
Okay, the next class will be crossbred producing ewes with 4-H production records. And that will be with Kellen Smith and Logan Smith. Okay, so this class is going to be crossbred meat breeds, ewe and one produce, shown by Kellen Smith and Logan Smith.
So ewe and produce. So we're going to start with actually the brood ewe that won the class. She's got a nice natural colored wether here that I think's really, really high quality. Again, a lot of top shape in both of these sheep. We'll go back here and we'll still keep them a blue, but maybe just not quite as muscle, not quite the design in the lamb that we've got in the blue sheep here.
Okay, the next class is going to be crossbred 4-H members flock, and that will be shown by Kellen Smith and Logan Smith.
Okay, we've got a members flock here. We're going to use the group to my right. It's got the two blue lambs here, along with mom there. Again, real two high quality ones. We're just going to go with the ones on my right for first, the ones on my left for second.
Okay, this next class will be the champion crossbred ewe. So I need in the ring Logan and Callie with your spring ewe, Kellen and Gabby with your fall ewe, Logan and Kellen with your yearling ewe, and Logan and Kellen with your producing ewe. So Logan's yearling ewe is what we need. Yes. Logan. Yeah, Logan, go ahead, bud.
A really nice set of females out here. It'd be a great way to start a market lamb project, is just to load all 8 of these up and get them bred when they're at their appropriate ages. again, we look a little bit about femininity and functionality throughout the morning and afternoon here. I think the one that really puts the most good things together for my mind is going to be the Fall Ewe Lamb. She'll be your champion. We're going to drop back, and I don't do this very often. I'm going to use the Spring Ewe Lamb for reserve. Just a really high quality set of females out here. Let's congratulate these exhibitors if you would, please.
Okay. All right, our final 4-H breeding class will be for Supreme Ewe. So in this class will be Gracie with your Suffolk Spring Ewe, Gracie with your South Downs Spring Ewe, Lily with your Hampshire Spring Ewe, Kellen with your Fall Ewe.
What a nice way to end a 4-H show. Let's congratulate these exhibitors in the Supreme Ewe Drive. Again, I kind of mentioned this after the Market Lamb show, but you exhibitors, be sure to thank your parents, to thank your leaders, to thank all the people involved, the superintendents, the fair managers, anybody that has a part to putting this thing together. I talked about on the Champion Market Lamb and Market Goat Drive that being able to show livestock is a privilege and not a right, and you need to be thankful for that. Just make sure you do those things if you would. I think a really high quality set out here. There's two I like a whole bunch out here, and I think it's relatively close. But for me, the one that's compositionally correct, a little bit neater through her shoulder and front end, it's going to be the young lady in the pink with the Hampshire Ewe. She'll have your Supreme Ewe today.
This year's Supreme Ewe belongs to Lillian Walder. Congratulations. Great job, guys. Okay, here in just a few minutes, we will be doing our open class. All right, we're going to be starting with our Hampshire Spring U class, shown by Bridget Skillman. Okay, moving right along. Next will be our non-registered Spring ewe lambs, shown by Carter Smith and Brooks Madison.
We got two young men out here that are showing some springy lambs. I'm going to use just a little bit longer sided, better fronted one. Again, got enough muscle shape and dimension down its top. I think it's a notch longer and leveler out of its hip too. Big center bodied one here in second. Just shortens up a little bit as you view it from the side or get your hands on it. Wants to taper just a hair as you go out from hooks to pins.
Okay, Brooks, don't go too far. You're coming back in a little while. Good job, guys. Okay, our next class will be Suffolk Spring ewe lambs, and this will be Darius Martin and Blake Martin.
I never expected the open class to have the youngest exhibitors, but that's what we've got. We got 2 Suffolk spring ewe lambs here, just a little bit different in terms of their type and kind. I'm going to use a little deeper bodied one, a little more thickness down its top. Like to level it up at its hip and remove the fiber there, but I think just one that has a little more dimension to her in terms of center body shape. Really a feminine, angular fronted, long body, doing super long handling. Just narrows up over its top a little bit more and is flatter in its forerib than the ewe lamb that we start the class with.
Okay, our next class will be Suffolk Fall Ewe Lamb, shown by Abigail Bratley.
Okay, we got one entered as a Suffolk Fall Ewe Lamb. Again, from a body conformation wise, I really like the design. A ewe lamb that wedges back, it's progressively wider from front to rear. From a breed character standpoint, we'd really like to change her. A Suffolk supposed to be free of wool on its legs and get the wool off the top of the head. Looks a little bit more like a Hampshire to me, but we're going to call her a Suffolk today and give her a blue.
Okay, in this last class, open class, we're going to have Brooks Martin with your spring ewe lamb. Brooks Madison with your spring ewe lamb. Darius Martin with your Suffolk spring ewe lamb. And Abigail Bratley with your fall ewe lamb.
Not a big open show, but we got some young exhibitors out here that are having a good time and doing a nice job in terms of showing these sheep. Again, we've got some different body shapes and kinds and certainly breed type differences. But for me, the best sheep out here is going to be the young man to my left with the crossbred ewe lamb. That'll be your supreme champion ewe.
All right, congratulations. All right, following this open class, here in a few moments, they will be doing a jackpot contest right over there in the practice arena. They're setting up, so if you're interested in seeing what that's all about, move over towards that direction. Thank you.